You have to want to be free more than anything else. You have to have let go of the world, the material world, your ego's narrative, your personal story, your emotional and psychological attachment and identification with that story. You have to be more in love with the inconceivable and unimaginable nature of the Absolute. And the thing is, the inconceivable and unimaginable nature of the Absolute cannot be seen. It cannot be imagined. So the only way to be able to truly know it is by letting go of absolutely everything else. And if you, or one, or I, any one of us, is able to let go so deeply and so unconditionally of everything else other than that, the miracle will happen, and that will be available to us in all kinds of ways that the mind can't conceive of. It's having a relationship with that which is unimaginable and inconceivable, ungraspable, and ultimately none other than who we always already are anyway. But that's a very difficult thing to understand with the rational mind. I think, to be honest, the only way we can support letting go is by letting go, unconditionally and absolutely. Anything less than that is ultimately beside the point. But if we have let go absolutely and unconditionally, the meditative experience, the meditative process will be experienced as an amplification of the truth itself. And the truth itself is that you are already always free, and that God is the only reality. So from an absolute perspective, from the perspective of enlightenment itself, the only support is the thing itself. And the degree to which we've let go unconditionally and absolutely and surrendered that much, that will be available to us. And then any moment of focused concentration will illuminate and make more obvious the non-dual context, or the absolute context, the infinite context, the inconceivable context that we're always in. Any moment of concentration, any moment of stillness, any moment of deep joy, any moment that cracks the illusion of solidity and seamlessness that the world appears to us, that the world appears to be most of the time. Any moment there's a little crack, what will be seen, felt, and experienced immediately, directly, is that there's only God, and that God is the only reality. That God is the substratum of all things, at all times, under all circumstances, which is so easy to forget. So if we haven't yet let go absolutely and unconditionally, meditation will be always nothing more than a relative experience of depth, even. And that's why a lot of people who haven't taken this leap can seem to go on forever, going in circles, never getting off the wheel. The only way to get off the wheel that the Buddha referred to is by getting off it unconditionally, absolutely and irrevocably. And then life continues. The process continues, and hopefully conscious evolution continues. But even that will be occurring in a context of a freedom that has already been realized and cannot be improved upon because it's an absolute static truth or reality. I want to make a distinction here between freedom as an experience that the small self has versus the liberation, which is the natural state of the self at the deepest level. So the experience of freedom that the small self may experience is very different than the unconditional state of liberation that is the natural state of the self at the self with the capital S at all times. So as long as we're fundamentally still identified with the small self as being the true self, a real self, and we're fundamentally identified with the small self, the narrative of the small self, including the entire cultural context that it came out of, whatever we experience will be contextualized within a context of relativity. But when we make the flip, and it's dramatic when it happens, all relative experience, even profound relative experience, is all seen within the context of the absolute, of an absolute truth or reality. And that's what changes everything.